Welcome, paranormal enthusiasts, to this week's episode of Creepin It Reel, here on the Coast to Coast Entertainment Network, where everyone comes for their paranormal fix. Real people, real stories, in real time. So glad you could join us for some ghostly gab. I'm your host, Eleanor Wagner. As always, I appreciate you hitting the subscribe tab, follow button, or show app on your podcast of choice. Everybody give a hello shout out to our Coast to Coast techie, Chris Mabry. He'll be working hard tonight to help us run smoothly. Today's guests are from a paranormal team that hunts the haunted places of Michigan. They are the Grand River Valley Paranormal Team. Please join me in welcoming Tina Works and team owner Scott Sheldon. Welcome.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey, Scott, what prompted you to start a paranormal team?
Kind of a long story short, I actually bought a haunted house, not knowing it was haunted. And at that particular time, I never even thought about the paranormal. I didn't believe in it, did not believe in it, just never thought about it. The more we experienced, the more we started realizing this is legit. And this is about the same time that all the paranormal shows started coming out, Ghost Hunters and Ghost Adventures and all that. So kind of got interested into it and started realizing that they were basically training people to be scared of what they're dealing with. And me living with it every day, it wasn't scary at all. So we decided to kind of do the same thing with a different approach.
What was happening in your house?
Oh, all kinds of stuff. You'd see shadow people, things would move on their own, constant footsteps, and just it was daily. So but it was nothing that ever freaked out.
Did you ever find out about the history of the house and make a connection as to who the spirits were?
Yeah, the house ended up being, it wasn't on an Indian burial ground, but it was built on top of where it used to be an Indian camp. So there were mounds on the property as well, but it wasn't a burial ground. So.
Cool.
Yeah. Native American grounds, very common to be have some type of haunting paranormal activity.
Yeah, we have a lot of that where I live in Sussex County. A lot of the houses and developments are built on Indian territory and burial grounds. So yeah, we're very familiar with that kind of thing happening. Hey, Tina, how did you and Scott connect that you came to be a member of his team?
Scott reached out to me. I believe it was on Facebook.
Yes, it was.
I do psychic medium services, and he reached out to me and asked if I'd be interested on joining his team and checking it out. And I was eager, of course. I've been dealing with this kind of thing since I was really young. So I was very excited to be on the front lines and help with that and really utilize my gifts with experiencing it real time with them is really cool.
Perfect. And how many team members make up the whole of Grand River Valley Paranormal?
Geez, now I got to count. I believe we have 7. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's like us too. My team has 7 too. We've kind of grown. We started out one way, all women, and then we had one guy and who came and left. And before you knew it, we were half men and half women. And now there's a total of 7 of us. So it kind of grows. Awesome. Yeah. I love that. Okay, so you brought us 3 different locations that you've done investigations at where you've had some really cool stories and evidence. And the first one was Shields Tavern located in Hubbardston, Michigan, which is Michigan's oldest tavern, actually. And it was the scene of one of your investigations. Chris is going to put a picture of the tavern up there, for everybody to see. What all happened there that you have to talk about?
That was pretty much it. That one photo that we captured.
So did you have any audio or anything what led up to that? No. What's the background? Why do they say it's haunted, or was it just a fluke?
Bars are notoriously haunted just because of the energy that goes on in there, especially this particular one where it was so old. The residual effects of bars with people coming and going and just over that amount of time. So that's what kind of prompted us to it. Now the claims there were very few, just like a few glasses moving here and there.
Mm-hmm.
We're willing to jump all over any type of case that, if they're claiming there's paranormal activity, we're going to jump all over it. So, but
That's
the
good.
claims were not a whole lot going on there, but we happened to catch it one photograph, which was really cool.
You want to tell us about the picture that we're going to put up?
Sure, absolutely. I don't know if you want to put it up first or.
You go tell us first, and then we'll put it up.
Oh, okay. Well, the scenario that was going on, me and another investigator were actually on monitor duty, which is kind of boring. And we were watching this one particular camera, and in the background of the photograph, there's a brick wall. It's more of a stone wall. And we got kind of bored, so we decided that we were gonna just take a picture through the monitor. And it's sometimes I'll do it kind of frequently where I'll just take a random picture and I'll post it on our Facebook page, asking our followers, what do you see? And there's really nothing there. It's kind of a matrixing lesson, because it's very interesting to hear what people are actually seeing, even though there's nothing there. But
Mm-hmm.
when we actually snap the photo, there ended up being something there. So it was completely, it's like on accident is what, we weren't even thinking about we were going to capture something in that photograph. I mean, it was just a matrixing lesson is all it was.
You
But
want to
yeah, the
put that
face showed
picture up,
up.
Chris? Yeah. So the face showed up, and when you look at it this way, you almost go, okay, where is it? And then Chris, put up the other one that I sent you to, because I circled the face. There we go. And did somebody in the bar recognize it and go, oh my gosh, that's so and so? How did it come about that
No,
you realized who it was?
no, actually, we discovered it. But first of all, when we first snapped the photograph, you could clearly see the face, but we were not believers. Like, okay, this has got to be something else. We actually took about 2 hours trying to debunk that photograph.
Yeah,
We could
really?
not. Yeah, we could not get that face to reappear in any photograph. We went down in the basement. It took them down there. We took more pictures to the monitor, and we just could not get that face to show back up. Now, towards the end of the night, after we broke down, we decided, hey, you know what? What's the chance that this face could be somebody? Because they had a bunch of photographs on the wall of old patrons, people that visit the bars, frequent
Mm-hmm.
customers, whatever. And so we just started walking around taking this, and we found the match, which was unbelievable.
I never think things like that are a coincidence. I feel like those
Yeah,
ideas are kind of implanted into somebody's mind, and whoever listens ends up figuring it out somehow. So somebody had to have had that thought put into their head to go looking at the patrons' pictures to see if it matched with somebody, because that spirit wanted you
right.
to know we were
Yeah,
there.
and to get a match like that, that's just dumb luck, really, is all it is.
Yeah,
But,
no, that was great. Were you there when
but
all of this was happening too, Tina, or was this before you
this was
started?
That was
this
before
was
my time with them. Yeah.
but it's to kind of tell more of the story. The bar owner knew who the guy was, and we knew the guy's name, but we never posted the name, and we still won't do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I decided should I post this on Facebook or not? And I kind of talked to the owner whether it would be a good idea, and she said, yeah, go ahead and post it. So we posted the photograph, and the following morning we actually got a message coming back from a lady, and that was actually her grandfather. And we didn't get any backlash on it. She was actually very grateful that we were able to capture that photograph, because they would celebrate. That was his favorite place to go, and they would celebrate his birthday in that bar every year. So
See,
she was very happy that we were actually able to capture that.
that's great. That's the reaction you hope to get from people when.
Yeah, it doesn't happen very often, but when it does, it's very rewarding.
Yeah, absolutely. We
It
did
gives you
an
goosebumps.
investigation. Yeah, we did an investigation in a private home where they had a spirit of a young boy slave that was interacting with their granddaughter, but they had felt that there was a spirit in the home that was family related too, and they were hopeful as to who they thought it would be. And so when our team went in there, we discovered it was the elderly grandfather that was living with them at a period of time, and then family members took him for a visit and then didn't bring him back. and never let them see him again. And he passed away, and they didn't tell him he was gone until after he was dead and buried. It was just an awful, awful situation for the family. They were all really heartbroken about it. And so when they were having this activity in the home, and it wasn't just the little boy they were feeling, they were sensing it was a family member. I said, if you're sensing that it's him, this family member, then believe it, because they're letting you know, they're implanting that in your mind that it's them.
Yeah.
And sure enough, we got great audio with him talking on the audio, and with his dog and everything. And when they heard the dog and they heard his voice, they were all in tears. And those are the things that make what we do really special, because they got to, he said, tell them I'm all right. Now dance. And there's like a joke to that, but he wanted them to know that he was all right. And that was just the coolest thing. And we've had that happen a couple of times in investigations in private residences. And it's just the most wonderful, rewarding feeling.
I would agree with that.
To bring that family member peace and joy, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You guys did an investigation. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, it's, could it be this gentleman was, sticking his face in just to say, hey, I'm here. Let them know I'm here.
Exactly.
That's what makes it so cool and rewarding, is now, they're going to continue to celebrate his birthday in that bar every year. And now they know that he'll
be there.
He's there.
Exactly. They'll probably toast a drink to his spirit.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen. We did an investigation in an Elks Lodge. And when we were at the lodge, the time that we were doing the investigation, the medium picked up on this. There was like a haul of pictures of former members that we didn't know at the time were already deceased. And she picks out one. She goes, I'm telling you, this man is deceased, and he's here right now. And it turns out his grandson was in the kitchen, working in the kitchen. And that was another thing. That's not a coincidence. This guy comes through, and his grandson's in the kitchen. And when we brought the man who had invited us in, and I said to him, do you know who this gentleman is? He goes, yes, he's one of our deceased members. In fact, his grandson is in the kitchen. I was like, okay, there's a reason for that, which was really, really cool.
Yes.
So I love when that stuff happens. I really do.
Too. Family members getting in contact with us.
Yes.
I preach to every one of our clients too, that, especially when we first show up and they're terrified or they're scared or whatnot. And most of the time it is friends or family members just trying to let themselves, let them know that they're still there. Yes. It's not a cliche that your loved ones are always grounded. And it's just really cool when we're able to prove that like that.
I tell people all the time that these visits from deceased loved ones are no coincidence. If you see a butterfly and you think, oh, my grandmother used to love butterflies, well, that's grandma. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You didn't think that by mistake. You didn't think that by mistake that was implanted into you. And I'm always talking to them about, the hummingbirds and birds and dragonflies. Everyone's got their own particular sign that they can receive from deceased loved ones. And it could be personal to you. It could be anything that you decide it to be. And it is. And if you get it, just don't let it slip by you. Receive it and accept it, because accept it for what it is.
Yeah.
That's the best way to describe it.
Embrace it.
Yeah. So you guys did an investigation in the venue 404 in Ionia, Michigan. Yep. And I have a picture that Chris is going to be putting up for us, giving credit to the venue 404's website. The building was formerly known as an Elks Lodge, like we were just talking about Elks Lodges. After closing in the early 2000s, the building was left to deteriorate, leaving many opportunities for intruders to leave their mark. A local family toured the vacant building and decided it had to be theirs. And it looks beautiful now from what they've done. Along with their father, 2 sisters, and their daughters set out on a mission to bring this historical building back to its former glory, making it a family affair. The 27,000 square feet building was remodeled and became home to Venue 404. So what is Venue 404?
Right now, like you mentioned, it is the former Elks Lodge of Ionia. Right now, they have turned it into a venue. I mean, you can receptions or whatever. It's a rental hall basically now.
And so is it known to be haunted, or was it?
Yes. It's known to be haunted. Yeah.
And you were invited in to do an investigation there?
Yes, ma'am. We're actually going back there next month too.
Oh, are you? So
Um,
does it suffice it to say, did you find out some really cool stuff that happened there, or?
um, Again, like it's kind of weird when you first get a location like that. Um, Sometimes the claims are not that severe. A lot of them are feelings, which could be a lot of different things. Um, but the stories start coming out once you do the investigations. Like I said, we had a pretty popular Facebook page. This was the 3 clips that you're showing was with a different paranormal team.
Mm-hmm.
Great River Valley is about 7 months old now. This is a relatively new group. Um, so when we started posting our findings from Venue 404, that's when the story started coming out. It's almost like people don't want to talk about it. But once you mention something, yeah, we captured this here. I experienced that there myself. How come we're not?
Mm-hmm.
We're just finding out about this, So
It usually ignites a conversation when they see it. They're like, "Oh my gosh," because
right.
that's what happens with me too. I'll end up posting something on social media. I don't know if I mentioned it to you, but I write books about true account hauntings. I've already written 4, and I'm working on 5 now. So what I'll do is I'll hit social media with a location and say I have stories for this location. If you have one that you want to share, it might end up in my book. And then all of a sudden people go, "Oh my gosh, I know that place is haunted. So and so happened. This happened." And then they'll start throwing out other locations that I didn't even mention. So it ends up being another find, so to speak. But
It's
it
almost like
really
there's
does get.
people out there. Oh, I'm sorry. It's
No,
almost like
go
there's
right
people
ahead.
out there that they start to think, oh, I'm not the only crazy one. That's the way I see it.
Exactly.
Um,
And they're openly talking about it more now than they did, say, 10, 15 years ago. And I think a lot of it has to do with the paranormal shows and people seeing that, wow, this really is a thing, and I don't have to be afraid of talking about it. Unfortunately, what a lot of people don't realize is the paranormal shows are not really what happens at a paranormal investigation. They make them believe all this stuff that's just totally unrealistic. And I try and tell them,
Very, very
no,
true.
that's not how it works. You can go to a place and you can be there for 6 hours and nothing will happen. And we don't scream and run away from spirit. We respect spirit and sit there and try to conversate with them and get whatever message they're trying to send through. So they do give them this altered vision of what a paranormal investigation is about, but at least it gets the conversation going and people interested enough to open up about what they've experienced. I do have
Yeah.
people that'll invite us excuse me, to their home for an investigation, and so we'll schedule it, and then the day before they'll back out.
Yeah, I've used.
Yeah, something came up. I don't know if they're thinking about, oh my gosh, they're going to stir something up, or they're afraid all of a sudden they don't want to do it. So I don't know. So they don't always pan out, but I would say it's 50-50. You get
Right. I think they're more
50%.
they're afraid of what's going to come out, and they're afraid of what's not going to come out. Like we're
Yeah.
going to look at them, they're crazy if nothing happens. That's
I wrote
Yeah.
a story. I wrote a story about this one location in Lafayette. Now, the house is known to be haunted, and it's been written about in Weird, New Jersey. I don't know if you've ever heard of Weird, New Jersey, but it's a pretty popular magazine here in New Jersey that's been around for a really long time and talks about all weird, supernatural, paranormal kind of stuff. And so this house has been written about in that magazine. And then there's also historical stuff. You look into the historical books about this home because it's from like the 1700s. They talk about the ghost in the history books. And there's even the actual spot where it says that the woman that is the ghost, one of the spirits in the house, she was struck by lightning when she was hanging clothes on a wire line. So it traces all the way back to there. So I'm writing this story. It starts out as this horrible experience for these couples that are renting this house. And then as I trace it further back, the people who lived in the house for 30 years loved the spirit. So it seems like once they left, the spirit was unhappy with all these renters and made the renters' lives miserable because they weren't staying. So I'm writing about this story, and then the new owners get wind of it. And she's like, you better not write about my house. I said, well, then you better go and tell Weird New Jersey they got to get rid of their story and all the historical books that already wrote about your house. have to get rid of their story if you don't want me writing about your story.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's already
like,
written
are you
about.
kidding me? It's already written about. Yeah, really. I'm just updating people and giving them the details about what happened. So people are really, really funny about stuff like that. But
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Yeah.
So what happened at the venue when you were there?
Not, not a lot of personal experiences. The photograph that we sent you was captured on our second visit. The first visit, the only clip that we actually captured was an EVP of a piano playing.
Oh, really?
There was only three. Well, there was three different pianos in the venue. So we're not sure. Well, it was something obviously that you would commonly hear while
Right.
it was working. So, but yeah, the photograph that we sent you was captured on the second visit.
Chris, you want to
And
put that photo up?
we weren't even aware that there was a little boy there until after we posted that photo.
Now, you see a little bit of something in the left corner of the pew there, but I don't only see that. I see other faces in the picture. When I was looking at it on my computer, I saw at least two other faces pop up in that picture. I don't know if you've had a chance to really zoom in on it on a computer screen.
We did on the well, I did. I sent you the zoomed in picture of the actual face that we were focusing on. Again, this was actually captured on accident. One of my investigators, John, was just taking pictures of just the beauty of the place and kind of posting them to show just the vintage stuff that's in that building. And we took a look, and it appeared there was something poking its head out between the seat and the backrest of that pew. And we did blow it up.
The picture that you sent me of the face, that was from the venue and not the bowling alley?
That's from this one, the one that's popped up right now, that's from the venue 404.
That's from the venue. Yeah.
There's a
because
second
you did
photo
send me another picture of
it's blown up. Yeah.
It's of the little boy's face.
Right.
Because all right, I'm gonna get that one for Chris. I want him to send that one because I assume that was from the bowling alley. But Chris, I just sent you one to put up. I think that this is the one that Scott's talking about because you can really see the little boy's full face and his upper body in that picture. I thought that was from the bowling alley. This one here, is this the one you're talking about?
Yep, that's the one.
That is so cool. Wow.
Yeah, that's the same picture that we showed before, just blown up.
It is. Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah,
I get to do readings in that room. I'm so excited.
Yeah, so you're going to be going in a couple of weeks, right, Tina? You're going to get to see the actual.
Yeah, I'm going to do donation readings that night for an adult prom. And then we're going to schedule an investigation with some of the, prom goers after that night. So I'm stoked. They sent me the pictures, and when I sent it to Scott, he's like, I've already been there. I was really stoked. I'm like, I am so pumped to go here. This is going to be awesome.
Did you find out who the boy is at all?
We have no idea.
Wow.
But back up for just a minute, though. We do take time when we capture because we saw this right away when John took the photograph. We noticed it right away that this is something that's off. So we do take the time to go back and try to recreate it or debunk it. And this is one of those things we just could not debunk. Now, once we blew that photograph up, and you can see the detail. Even
oh my gosh! Yeah.
Hair, and he even had a little bow tie on. You can't matrix that. I mean, that's legit.
No. Yeah, that is crazy. I would love to know who he is and how he fits into that whole. See, now, Tina, when you go there, because of your gifts, you might be able to connect with him. I suggest you bring like a cat ball with you. You know, those cat balls that light up. That might get his attention since he's so little. If you bring a toy and tell him he could light it up by touching it, maybe you'll get his attention. And if you can hear him,
I'm gonna actually I'm gonna try to journal with him like before that night
Uh-huh.
because I like to do that, and it would just, I already like feel how exciting it's gonna be. So
Yeah,
I'm gonna journal about him and get him excited too, because I think
that's
it'll be
good.
fun. Both nights were there.
You got to tell me what happens. I would love to hear it.
I will. I
But
will.
that was towards the end of the night that we actually captured that photograph. Earlier in that night, we actually had a K2 session, which didn't make a lot of sense to us. We weren't able to debunk the K2 session, but we could only get readings about knee high. And this was
Mm-hmm.
before we photograph. So then once we saw the photograph, we started realizing, okay, well, this is a child. That's why we could only get readings at knee high. He was around us most of the night. We actually caught 2 EVPs of his voice, which we
Oh, that's so cool.
and
I
he's
love
so
that.
that you can't even understand what he's saying. It's just,
Oh,
but looking back, it's almost like he followed us around all night.
in that picture though, I saw at least 2 other faces. I'll have to go back and try and get
It's
them and
possible.
circle them and send. Yeah, so I think that there were more spirits there than just him in that picture.
There's
So you
definitely
might
more.
want to revisit it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we were more on the one face that we could actually prove,
yeah, that's so cool.
but we
So
went
the
back.
Ionia bowling alley is haunted too.
Oh, we're actually going to be
Oh my
there
goodness.
this Saturday night. 2 nights we're going to be there.
To
So,
Yeah,
bowl or to investigate?
investigate.
they're closed down.
Okay.
We got a fair going on in town. They're closed down during the fair.
So
So
you get to go in there then. Oh, that's cool. Chris is going to put a picture of the bowling alley up to give PC credit to the Ionia Bowling Alley website and Ryan Viditich, who took this photo. What's the history behind the location? How old is the building? Did they ask you to investigate because of strange activity or something?
yeah, they've had activity for a long time. And the building itself has a really cool history. I can't give you the exact date, but the building used to be a distillery. And actually, the Colt 45 brand was originally made inside of that bowling alley.
Oh, okay.
And
A
it was
distillery, it's
really
got to have some activity going on.
actually the building itself is built over top of a waterway.
Oh, water. Ooh, that's definitely
Oh, yeah,
a big,
energy in that building. But yeah, so
yeah, absolutely. So you caught a video. One of the investigators decided to just kind of do a live walkthrough and
yeah,
picked up a shadow, correct?
yes. Yeah, so we were waiting for the obviously it's a bowling alley, so it has a bar, and we were waiting for the last remaining customers to leave so we could start setting up and start investigating. She was bored. We just decided to start doing a live video. This was all done live on her Facebook page, and she was doing a live feed as she was walking throughout the building. And we didn't even know what she captured until the next day. I went back and reviewed it, and I saw it right away. She didn't see it when she was videoing it at all. Nobody at home that was watching it saw it either. So it
Okay,
happens
Chris is gonna.
there.
It happens what?
It happens quick, but it's definitely there.
All right. Well, Chris is going to play it for us, and then you can point out to us where it is, just in case we don't catch it.
Okay, well, I'm going to tell before he plays it, the
So
key word is
area.
The key word
basement.
is what?
It's a huge basement, massive, is what she says. And then she'll turn a
Okay.
corner and it shoots in front of her.
Okay. All right, Chris, go for it.
So area isn't usually. Just gonna walk down through here, and it looks like the lights are out in the basement. I'm not much of a chicken in this line of work, so I'll be going down in the basement by myself. I'm kind of breaking the first rule of going alone is a no-no. But this is a huge basement. I mean, massive. I don't get scared easy. I'm kind of a skeptic. I like to debunk things. But I've seen a lot of things I cannot explain. I've also seen a lot of things I can debunk. So sometimes you just never know.
So she had no idea. I honestly didn't see anything. I must have missed it.
Really have to be in the right light to see it, but it's definitely, there's a shadow that shoots across in front of her. As soon as she turns that corner, and you'll actually hear, we slowed the video down so you can see the spirit, and you'll hear her voice change, and that's actually the video slowed down, and that's about the same time that it shot across.
All right, Chris,
But,
play
yeah,
it
it's
one more
definitely-
time because I'm really curious. I want to see if I can catch it.
So area isn't usually. Just gonna walk down through here, and it looks like the lights are out in the basement. I'm not much of a chicken in this line of work, so I'll be going down in the basement by myself. I'm kind of breaking the first rule of going alone is a no-no. But this is a huge basement. I mean, massive. I don't get scared easy. I'm kind of a skeptic. I like to debunk things. But I've seen a lot of things I cannot explain. I've also seen a lot of things I can debunk. So sometimes you just never know.
Good thing she didn't know there was something down there with her.
I will not be going down there by myself.
You're not supposed to be afraid of this kind of stuff, Tina.
I'm not, but sometimes I'm like, ooh, okay, I'm glad you're here with me.
She did mention that it's a big no-no to go by yourself in certain spots of the building, and it's not for the fact that they're scared. It's a safety precaution, especially, you know, you mentioned venue 404 is one of those places where you find these old elevator shafts, and my fear, somebody's be walking around in the dark, fall down something. You know, now I'm just using an example. Hope it never happens, but if they ever fall down and we completely lose them, we don't even know where they're at. That's the reason we go as
pairs, as a group.
Yeah.
Has there ever been a particular investigation that for you was frightening?
For me, no. I do get spooked every once. It usually goes away.
Yeah, I think the nursing home, I had to do a little extra like cleansing on myself when I got home. And, you know, I'm getting home at like 4 a.m. by myself, you know, like, okay. But not like scary, creepy, you know, it was just like, okay, that was a long night with a lot of energy.
Yeah, I'll bet. Well, I noticed when you're together with the team, everybody brings a certain energy and it brings it up to a level, but by the end of the night you're just exhausted. You're just like done. Spent. Especially if it's a rough
and then goes over all the footage.
And especially if it was a rough spirit for I don't mean to say mean, but sometimes it could just be rough.
Yeah.
And you're even more drained from it.
Yes.
So you guys say you have venue 404 coming up, and then you're going to be at the bowling alley. What else is coming up? What other things do you got in store in the future?
This place called Riverdale Tavern. Now, this has been on my hit list ever since I started doing this for 15 years now, and they have never allowed anybody to investigate in the building. So we're going to be the first ones to ever be able to investigate that. And that's a pretty notorious haunted spot in the central Michigan area. It's kind of I'd say southwest of Mount Pleasant by about 15, 20 miles. So we're pretty excited about that. That's coming August 6th, I think. Yeah, something early August is coming up. So we're pretty excited about that. First ones ever to be able to walk in. So.
It's going to be an overnighter.
It all depends. Obviously, depending on how much activity we're capturing, it's going to determine how long we stay. So we're hoping we experience enough where we can, stay the entire night. There's been a few times we've actually walked out when the sun's coming up, so it doesn't happen
Oh
often.
boy,
Sometimes you get
that's
those cases.
determination. So Tina, you say you do medium. What is it that you do for people?
So
Like
I am psychic medium, and I do ribbon readings. So energy comes to me, and they come to me in colors. It's really cool. It's really weird. But it's how I decipher spirits, your energy, our auras, like everything. So for me, it's really fun how they come to me at these investigations, and I'm just seeing these cool colors, and I'm getting visions of their life and feelings, and you'll hear someone on the spirit box, pulling up a name, and I'm like, oh
Right.
yeah, that fit in this, that is fitting this guy. It's really cool to bring that part of my work in with, this. It's a different way, I guess you should say.
Do I have a good aura color?
Yeah, everyone has good aura colors.
Before, when you were sitting there, I heard a cat meow, and I was like, "Where the heck did that come from?" Then I just saw the cat behind you. Behind you.
Whenever I get in front of the phone or the camera, she's like, "Oh, is it time to perform?" Like she gets involved.
She's so cute. She's got her head sticking in there. So why don't you go ahead and tell my listening audience how they can find both of you and information about your group. Put a pitch in there, Tina, for yourself and what you do for the public too, so they can find you if they want to get a reading.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a website, which is tinaqueenofribbons.com. And on Facebook, same thing. I have it's a growing following, so you can follow me on there, and I post all of our stuff, which our Facebook page is Grand River Valley Paranormal. So yeah, you can email us, connect with us there. Scott's phone number is right on our page. So I think we're all eager to work.
Do you travel out of Michigan, or is it just restricted to that area?
I do for readings.
For readings, she probably does.
Yeah.
But for investigations,
we in the past, like I said, and in the older groups, we would travel to Indiana, Ohio once in a while, but not very often. Enough stuff going on in Michigan that keeps us busy. So
I'm sure every town is haunted, so there's enough to go around.
Yeah, I literally said, like, we could come to my house. I'm in an old farmhouse. Like, we could get some activity.
So do you know if your house is haunted, Tina?
I don't know, but I have had people confirm that they know the owners and the previous owners, and they're like, I know who you're talking about. And I described a man to them, and they were like, oh my gosh, yeah, yes, it's so cool. They confirmed a lot of things for me.
There you go.
He scared my daughter one day, and I was like, oh, the farmer man is going into the basement. He went and like hid out and didn't come around because he scared her, and he's been coming back. He's been coming back, and like
maybe he felt bad or something, because little kids are so receptive, and she's at that age. You said she's 7, so they're so receptive to spirit, and maybe he didn't realize he was scaring her, because that was my first encounter as a kid. I was living in a haunted house, and I was around that age, around 7, and I was terrified of the spirit. And I didn't know until I was an adult that he was just trying to get my attention because he knew I could see him.
Yes.
But tell that to a 7-year-old.
Now, I help a lot of children that deal with that. I helped a friend's kid that she said he was having all these crazy things happening to him. She didn't give me a lot of information. She just wanted me to come over and check it out. And on the way there, I was getting this man, and I was like, I felt he had hurt himself, and that he had traumatized, life, and he took his own life. And he told me he wasn't trying to hurt this kid. Like, his energy of what had happened in that room was just floating,
and she was sensing it or feeling it, right?
Yeah, and a loop in there, and this kid is extremely empathic. And I got there, and feeling his ribbons, and I got there and I brought out his colors, and he's 7, and I didn't want to freak him out, and I described this person to him, and I go, who does this sound like? And he's like, well, that's me. I'm like, okay, now there's a man in your room. And so I started describing him, and it was really cool to work with the parents, to work with this child, and feel this energy dissipate from the room as we're talking about this man and what had happened to him. And he wasn't trying to scare this little boy, you know?
He just wanted to tell his story and be acknowledged, right?
Yeah. And they moved out of their house recently, and he got more active. And I was like, oh, I don't think he wants you guys to leave.
Oh, yeah, that's rough. That's rough. Yeah, because they become like members of the family, really.
Yes.
It's the same like that house I was telling you earlier with the family that lived in there for 30 years. They loved their spirits in the house. They were like members of the family. And they said the last day that they were in the house, when they told the woman's spirit they were leaving, she must have been so upset she was shaking their bed with them in it. And then after that, everybody that moved into the house didn't have really good experiences. So I was kind of hoping when the new family moved in that she would be happy, because it was actually a family with kids again. You know, so I was hoping that maybe she would settle down and be happy there was a new family in there. But like I said, they weren't really nice. So I don't know how things are going in that house. So
right.
You know, and then another thing about children is it's pretty amazing how many cases that I've done over the years that deal strictly with autistic kids too. It just seems like the autistic kids just fuel the paranormal. I don't know what it is about them.
Yeah, it's crazy sensitive. Yeah, very true. Well, Scott, what do you want to leave the public with before you leave?
You know, like I said, this is I've been doing it for a long time. This is a new group, 7 months old. We just formed back in January. We got a lot of talented people in this group. So, you know, check us out. And like I said, you know, just go Facebook. It's we're the only ones, Grand River Valley Paranormal. So there's not 2 of us. It's just us. So type that in, we'll pop right up. So
there you go, Michiganders. Look out for them. Tina, any final words?
Go like and follow. I blog about our investigations. I blog about the collective energy that I feel in the ribbon colors. And I do a lot of events, so follow me there. That's really cool. Michigan has been very welcoming to my ribbon weird divination.
Well, thank you to you both for joining me tonight. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
This is a lot of fun. Chris, thank you for doing what you do. I appreciate it. And, email me at authoreleanorwagner@gmail.com. They're $15 each. And at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, when I'm interviewing Christy Grissom and David Taylor from Our Haunted Lives to discuss their many cases and the evidence they've unearthed. Chris, you can put that picture up. There you go. So thank you all, and good night.
I hope you've enjoyed this little journey down my own personal nightmare alley. If you're one of those people who experiences the paranormal and has stories of your own you've been filing away over the years, I want to hear about them. And if you're a part of a paranormal investigative team, even better. I'd love to have you on my show. Got a questionable photo? Send it in. Would love to have an open discussion here amongst the professionals. Reach out to me at authoreleanorwagner@gmail.com. Enjoy our soundtrack music, Headless Horseman by Alexander Nakarada, promoted by freestockmusic.com. And remember, no ghost story is better than a real-life ghost story. Until we meet again, make sure you're creeping it real.